On behalf of Dr. D.Y. Patil, Center for Management and Research, Chikli, Pune, I welcome you all to online session. Today in this session, we will discuss corporate governance in India, concept, course of action, and compliance. The learning objectives for today's session are: we will see the key constituents of corporate governance, it meaning basic pillars of corporate governance, need, importance and objectives of corporate governance, test of corporate governance, constituent of corporate governance. As students, we all know the word corporate governance is formed of two words: corporate meaning the company and governance meaning the monitoring mechanism in the company. As the company word comes to our mind, we know that there are other key players or key constituents of a company like the shareholders, management, creditors, customers, board of directors, government, regulatory authorities, and society at large. To understand corporate governance, we will now look at the definition of corporate governance as given by CII, that is the Confederation of Indian Industries. It says that practices that the board of directors of a listed entity follows to fulfill the expectation of all stakeholders, that is shareholders, employees, creditors, customers, government, regulatory authorities, and society at large, is called corporate governance. Meaning, corporate governance is practices that the board of directors follows. Students, as we all know, companies, they gather or pool capital from a large investor base from the domestic as well as the international market. In this context, we may say that the investor invests in the company for want of higher returns. His investment is basically an act of faith in the ability of a company to give him higher returns. So, as the investor is investing because of faith, there must be a system whereby the directors are entrusted with the responsibilities and duties in relation to the direction of the company affairs. That is, a monitoring mechanism should be there to look into the interest of the investors. Corporate governance is a system of making management accountable towards the stakeholders for effective management of the company. Corporate governance is also concerned with the moral, ethical values, parameters, conduct and behavior of the company and its management. Thus, we can say that corporate governance revolves around three basic interrelated segments. These are integrity and fairness towards the stakeholders, transparency and disclosures, third, accountability and responsibility. As we have studied, the Confederation of Indian Industries says that corporate governance deals with the laws, procedures, practices, and rules that determine the ability of the company to make managerial decisions. Decisions that best fit the shareholders, creditors, customers, the state, and the employees. Now, try to understand that corporate governance mainly consists of two elements. First, a long-term relationship which has to deal with checks and balances, incentives of managers, and communication between management and investors. The second element is transaction relationship involving matters related to disclosure and authority. In other words, in layman language, we can say that good corporate governance is simply good businesses. Now, we will try to understand the need and importance of corporate governance and the objectives of corporate governance. As we all know, students, in order to overcome the serious concern which govern the company, there must be a mechanism or corporate governance that will ensure the transparency, integrity, and accountability of management, including non-executive directors. Corporate governance has to be understood in the context of the following points. First, in a company, there is a concentration of greater financial power and authority in a lesser number of individuals. There may be cases of violation of foreign exchange rules and regulation, large-scale diversification of funds to associate companies, and risky venture. Or company may take unfocused business decision leading to losses. There may be cases of preferential allotment of shares to promoters at low prices, exploited the weaknesses in the accounting standard to inflate profits and understate liabilities. Next reason of having a good corporate governance is frequent changes that may hamper the decision-making process. Spinning off profitable business operations to subsidiary companies and charging a royalty for the use of brand name by the parent company by leading companies. Now, we will try to understand why it is important to have corporate governance by a company. Dear students, try to understand that if a company has good corporate governance, means it is more open and transparent and thus well governed. In such a scenario, it is able to raise capital successfully from the investor due to its information and confidence necessary for them to lend funds directly to such companies. Moreover, well-governed companies likely will obtain capital more cheaply than companies that have poor corporate governance practices, because investor will require a smaller risk premium for investing in such well-governed companies. Thus, in an efficient capital market, investor will invest in companies with better corporate governance frameworks because of the lower risk and the likelihood of higher returns. Good corporate governance practices also enable management to allocate resources more efficiently, which increases the likelihood that investor will obtain a higher rate of return on their investment. Thus, to sum up, we can say that Corporate governance practices ensures adequate disclosure and effective decision making to achieve corporate objectives, transparency in business transactions, statutory and legal compliances, protection of shareholders, commitment to values and ethical conduct of businessmen or an ethical conduct of business, long-term survival of the companies. Now, we will try to understand the importance of corporate governance in a developing country. We may say that countries with good corporate governance, they are more likely to raise FDI from foreign land as in countries which follow a low level of corporate governance. Thus, to sum up, we can say the aim of corporate governance is to ensure commitment of the board in managing the company in a transparent manner for maximizing long-term value of the company for its shareholders and all other partners. It integrates all the participants involved in a process which is economic and at the same time social. Test of corporate governance. If we want to test whether a company is having a good corporate governance or not, we can broadly see whether the funds of the companies have been deployed for pursuing the main objectives of the company as listed in the memorandum. We can check whether the funds acquired from financial institution and the capital market have been utilized for the purpose for which they were intended. We can see whether the company has core competence to effectively manage its diversification, whether the loans and advances or investment to subsidiary companies are proper or not, whether the company follows the provisions of the Companies Act, the Foreign Exchange Management Act, the Factories Act and other statutes are complied with in letter and in spirit, whether the practices adopted by the company and its management towards its shareholders, customers, suppliers, employees and the society at large are ethical and fair, whether the directors are provided with the information on the working of the company and whether the institutional and non-executive directors play an active role in the functioning of the companies, whether the internal control are in place are effective, whether there are transparent financial reporting and auditing practices and accounting practices adopted by the company in accordance with the norms and procedures laid down by ICAI. Now, moving further, we will see the constituents of corporate governance. As per our previous understanding, we have come to know that there are three major constituents of corporate governance. These are the board of directors, the shareholders, and the management. This can be further enlisted or detailed as the roles and powers of the board of directors, the composition of the board of directors, the legislations, the code of conduct, the board independence, the board skills, roles and powers of shareholders, and board appointment. These are the different norms set by the monitoring authorities to check whether the company follows corporate governance or not. Further, we can also see whether the board meetings, board induction and training, monitoring the board performance, management skills and environment, business and community obligations, audit committee, financial and operational reporting and risk management are as per the standard set or not. Now, we will look at the framework of corporate governance. In India, the framework constitutes mainly of two pillars. On one side is the organizational framework, and on the other side is the legal framework. In the organizational side framework, we have the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, MCA, the SEBI, Securities Exchange Board of India, and the Confederation of Indian Industries, CII. Again, on the legal framework, we have different laws and norms, the company laws, SEBI laws, Companies Act 1956, Companies Bill 2004, and the different norms and committees that are appointed by these institutions from time to time to issue or have clarity on corporate governance. As we have discussed from the diagram, the organizational structure consists of the institutional framework, which consists of Ministry of Corporate Affairs, the Confederation of Indian Industry, CII, the Securities and Exchange Board of India, that is SEBI, SEBI. And we have also seen that these institutions appoint different committees to refine or modify the norms of corporate affairs. In 1998, one such committee was constituted by Confederation of Indian Industries that unveiled India's first code of corporate governance. However, since the code adoption was voluntary, only few firms embraced it. Soon after, SEBI appointed the Kumar Mangalam Birla Committee to fashion a code of corporate affair governance in 2000. SEBI accepted the recommendation of the Kumar Mangalam Birla Committee and introduced all its recommendations in clause 49 into the listing agreement of stock exchange. Clause 49 outlines requirement vis-a-vis corporate governance in exchange traded companies. In 2003, SEBI instituted the N.R. Narayan Murthy Committee to scrutinize India's corporate governance framework further and to make additional recommendations to enhance the effectiveness. SEBI has since then incorporated the recommendations of N.R. Narayan Murthy Committee, and the latest revisions to clause 49 became law on January 1, 2006 via wide circular of SEBI. The main provisions that have been included in clause 49 via wide the circular are the minimum number of members on the board of directors, the composition of audit committee, the remuneration of directors, board procedures, management, the shareholders, report on corporate governance, and compliance certifications necessary for a listed company. In 2002, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs appointed Naresh Chandra Committee to look into the corporate governance practices and issues. This committee made recommendations in two key aspects of corporate governance: financial and non-financial disclosures, and independent auditing and board oversight of management. In addition to appointment of committee by the CII and the SEBI and the MCA, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs has also set up a national foundation for corporate governance, that is NFCG, in association with CII, ICAI and ICSI as a non-profit trust to provide platform to deliberate on issues relating to good corporate governance and to sensitize corporate leaders on the importance of good corporate governance practices as well as to facilitate exchange of experience and ideas amongst corporate leaders, policymakers, regulators, law enforcing agencies and non-government organizations. The foundation has been set up with the mission to foster a culture of promoting good governance, voluntary compliance, and facilitate effective participation of different stakeholders, create framework of best practices, structures, process, and ethics, and make significant difference to Indian corporate sector by raising the standard of corporate governance in India towards achieving stability and growth. Thus, we can say that the framework of corporate governance with its two main pillars, the organizational framework and the legal framework, has time again and again deliberated on the issues concerning to corporate governance. That's all in today's lecture. To have a brief preview of what we have learned today, we can say that we have seen key constituents of corporate governance. Second, we have seen the definition of corporate governance as given by CII. We have seen the introductory part of corporate governance, why corporate governance is necessary, the three basic interrelated segments of corporate governance, that is integrity and fairness, transparency and disclosure, accountability and responsibility. We have also seen the short-term relationship and the long-term relationship of corporate governance. Today we have also seen the need, importance and objectives of corporate governance. We have seen why corporate governance is important for a company, why corporate governance is important in case of a developing country. Lastly, we have seen what does corporate governance means. We also been able to identify the parameters to test the corporate governance in a company. We also seen the constituents of corporate governance and the detailed parameters as enlisted by the monitoring authorities which will test the corporate governance. We have seen the framework of corporate governance. We have seen the institutional framework and the various committees set, that is committee constituted by CII. Next, we have seen the recommendations of Kumaramangalam Birla Committee. We have seen the committee recommendation under the chairmanship of N.R. Narayan Murthy Committee. We have seen the recommendations of N.R. Narayan Murthy Committee. Last but not least, we have seen recommendations of Naresh Chandra Committee and the important provisions under MCA, that is Ministry of Corporate Affairs, that is setting up a foundation to help address issues of corporate governance.